Hey, what's up? This is the first ever episode of a brand new podcast, the Puck Bros. My name is Brett, and this is my brother Nolan. We're going to talk about the free agent frenzy, some of the crazy trades that have happened over the past week, and we're excited to talk to you guys about it. So let's get it started. So before we get into all those free agent signings and trades, we first wanted to give a little bit of background about us. We've been hockey fans basically since 2009, right?
I think so.
Yeah, it's started for us. I don't remember why we asked for it, but we got NHL 09.
I think you asked for it. I got Spider-Man Web of Shadows.
It ended up working. We both got really obsessed with it though. But I don't remember why I asked. To be honest, I don't know. But I asked, or one of us asked for NHL 09 for Christmas. We got it. I chose to be a Panthers fan. Our dad is a big Panthers fan. He's been a Panthers fan since '93, so he got to celebrate the cup along obviously me too, but he's an OG fan, so even bigger for him. And then you picked the Predators for a unique reason.
I like their logo.
That's it.
Pretty much. I scrolled through all the teams and I found the Predators logo and I was like, that's pretty sick. Choose that one.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people would be like, yeah, if you're going to pick a team based on a logo, the Predators make sense. Like, if you pick like the LA Kings for their logo,
no.
Here's a trivia question for you. So we brought up NHL 09. You're probably gonna know it right away, but I want to see who was on the cover of NHL 09.
Oh, I know that. Dion Phaneuf.
Yeah. Yep. Dion
when he was a Calgary
Phaneuf.
Flame.
Calgary Flame. Yep. I just pulled it up here on the stream. I know you can't see it, but yeah. NHL 09, Dion Phaneuf, former great defenseman. Oh, okay. You're going to give me a trivia question?
Yeah, let me give you trivia.
Okay.
Who was 2012? NHL 12.
NHL 12. So that was before it was Kane Tays. Patrick Kane is around there. I think Tarasenko's not till like 16 or something. 2012. Not PK yet. Brodeur?
Nope.
Was he 11?
He was 14.
14? Oh my gosh. I think I'm going to have to give up on this one.
It is the newest Nashville Predators, Steven Stamkos.
Stammer. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? I think that's a pretty good transition for us to get into one of our first things. You know, as I said, you're a Predators fan. They made some huge moves for him here. I'm going to pull up for those for you guys on the screen. If you're listening, you can check out our podcast on both Facebook and YouTube. You can check out the videos too, but just walk through those. It was 4 signings, but it's 3 big ones.
Yeah. Let me get it pulled up here. So according to Sportsnet, they first signed Jonathan Marchessault, even though I don't believe that's how it started off, because I know the big news was Stamkos early on. So, but they signed Steven Stamkos from the Tampa Bay Lightning. I don't know if too many people thought at the beginning of people thinking where's Stamkos gonna go? Where is he gonna go?
Nashville was not on the
anywhere on that list.
No.
So the fact that we got him is kind of crazy. I'm still a little
was it real?
I don't know about it. No, it's not. Is it real? It's
the amounts, maybe.
If you remember, the Predators got Peter Forsberg at one point.
Well, that was that. But to be fair, that was a bit different, right? That was a trade deadline trade. This is a free agent signing, and you've got him for 4 years.
Yeah, at 34.
Yeah, so he'll be he'll be a
We'll see.
38-year-old making $8 million.
And Nashville sucks on the power play, so to have a power play specialist.
Oh yeah, the
might
Stammer
be
one
nice.
timer.
Yeah, from that little corner. And then another former Tampa Bay Lightning signed, Jonathan Marchessault.
The PTSD for me with Marchessault is pretty bad.
Yeah, you know him pretty well from 1 year.
Well, yeah, he was our leading goal scorer, and then good old Dale Talon, he decided to.
No, it was Tom Rowe.
No, Dale Talon was given permissions back by the time of the thing. Okay. So Tom Rowe was fired before this happened. So it is Dale Talon.
Really?
Yeah, I know. I thought it was before. Nope.
I thought Tom Rowe was the whole like get rid of the. No, you know what? You're right. I think Tom Rowe wanted Jonathan Marchessault. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, so Tom Rowe was the interim GM, and then once that season ended, then Dale Talon took over again. He decided for the expanded draft to protect Alex Petrovic.
That was beautiful.
And said,
still playing in the NHL, surprisingly.
Yeah, he was in the Western Conference Final.
But you know what? I don't actually. Was he playing for them?
He was.
I thought he was a minor leaguer, but okay.
He was up. It's crazy. He was up until the Western Conference Final. So, like, it was kind of random. But anyways, yeah, we decided to protect Alex Petrovic, who we eventually traded for a 7th-round pick, and let Vegas have both Jonathan Marchessault and Riley Smith, just so they wouldn't pick Petrovic.
Hey, it worked out in the end. He won a cup.
I actually, out of all these signings, the next one is the one I think is really good for you guys. Believe it or not.
Brady Shea.
This
one, I don't know too much about him. So it'll be interesting to see him. I'm going to try to watch a lot more Predators games next year.
Yeah, so Brady Shea.
I definitely want to see Stamkos. Yeah. Let me. Also, I think it's good to have another big lefty because we did just trade Ryan McDonough back to Tampa. So they get probably like the best left-handed defenseman in the free agency, I think. I'm pretty sure he was.
I would put him up there. So he's kind of like a Forsling type guy. He's not going to put up a ton of offensive points, but the points is not what you judge Brady Shea by. He's very strong on the defensive end. So
he's a good two-way defender.
Yep, definitely.
From what I heard. And then just the smaller signings before we get to the big extension is Scott Wedgwood is going to be our backup instead of Askarov. But Scott Wedgwood's actually like a good backup. So
he did really good. He did really good last year under Ottinger.
Mm-hmm. And then we re-signed. Luckily, I thought we lost this guy, but I'm glad we were able to re-sign him as Alexandre Carrier.
That was a big contract too. I didn't put that in the graphic, so you'll have to tell us the term.
It wasn't too big of a contract. It's a 3.75 for 3 years. It's definitely a pay raise for him, which he deserves because he's actually good. I thought he was going to get like a big type of long-term contract with someone else, but it's cool that he came back to Nashville. And then it's good to have him back. And then finally we decided we're not going to trade this guy. We're going to sign him to an 8-year contract, and we're going to give him a cap hit that matches his number. Juice Saros.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Juicy Saros is staying in Nashville.
Yeah,
so that's a very good thing because this guy is the only reason why we make the playoffs.
Maybe not this year. Maybe not this year.
We might actually get 30 goals from someone.
So you
Phil Forsberg is a good goal scorer, but
you talked about the goaltending for Nashville, and one name you brought him up very briefly, Askarov. Mm-hmm. He's been in the Predators system for so long, and it seems like with the extension to Saros, with the signing of Scott Wedgwood, do you think they're moving on from him?
Well, here's the thing about that. The whole how Drew Saros became Drew Saros is just like staying underneath Pekka Rinne for so long. So I feel like unless you get a trade offer that seems like worth it, I wouldn't trade Askarov because he's doing good in the minors. It's not like he sucks.
Right.
That we would get rid of him. We would have to trade him if we're getting like something worthy in return, not just like a second round pick. I would want a first for like a goalie who's not bad. This isn't like when the Stars gave up on Jack Campbell when he was looking like a bust. This is Askarov doing good, and we have too many good goaltenders. But I wouldn't mind keeping him because you never know when a big injury could happen, and then what if Wedgwood's like sucking, and then you're like, well, we got Askarov, because that would be much better than just some random minor league goalie having to be called up. You have a top prospect goalie who can just be in your system.
Yeah, and you mentioned the reasons why Nashville wanted to keep Askarov, because I think those are really good reasons. But then you got to think about the other side of it. Does Askarov want to continue to be in this position of waiting until Saros ages out of his position?
You're on your entry level contract. Sorry, dude. You're staying. You don't get much choice.
That's true. And then
at least for this year. At least in this year. Next year might be a little.
Right. I mean, even the Panthers are struggling with their RFA deal right now and Anton Lundell. And we can switch to the Panthers here.
Now you can do all the talking.
Well, you can bring your thoughts. Don't be afraid to do so. The Panthers have had...
Reinhart sucks. That contract's going to suck.
So I don't have that on here, but obviously the biggest thing the Panthers have done so far is Sam Reinhart's extension. He signed an 8-year deal with a 8.625 cap hit, and I actually do like that deal because on the open market he would have gotten over 10 for sure. So we keep him under 9.
9.5.
Right,
high.
Definitely 50 goal scorer, guy who can play defense. But a lot of what I've got here on our graphic here is all the people we lost. So we win a cup, and then everyone's like, okay, I've done my duty here. I'm going to go get some money. Brandon Montour, the biggest one, he chose to go to Seattle on a 7-year, $7 million average contract. Insane. The guy's already over 30. I think they overpaid for him, but, good for Montour.
I think that contract could either be like Montour stepping up into a bigger role because him and Dunn could be like a really good duo.
Maybe. You're right. He did, because he was only top 4 for Florida. So
So it depends who they put him with, I think, because Vincent Dunn's really good.
Yeah. No, he is. The other people that we lost, Oliver Ekman-Larsson went to Toronto. Anthony Stolarz joined him. Ryan Lomberg.
The contract that he got in Toronto kind of is
4 years?
A 4-year deal at like $3 million? Like, what? I don't get it.
He's gonna get bought out for the second time in his career.
I feel like that should have been. He should have got maybe a 2-year deal at the most, because I'm like, I mean, he had a good year with the Panthers, but 4 years.
He had a decent year. He did about that. He had it. I mean, he was our third pairing defenseman. So I mean, he's not like he came and lit it up. He did a good job in the role he was. And that's about it.
That's about it. But Anthony Stolarz was a good signing for the Toronto.
Yeah, and we weren't going to keep him. Spencer Knight needs the chance.
Yeah.
So,
Ryan
Lomberg goes back to Calgary. That's actually who we got him from originally. So he's going back to Calgary. Kevin Stenlund.
Calgary's going to like him.
Yes, definitely. Even more so. If they liked him before, they'll like him even more now. And then the last one that actually is signed with another team is Kevin Stenlund. Signed a really cheap deal. I think he could have gotten more than this. He signed a 2-year deal in Utah. The Utah Hockey Club will be the Utah Yeti eventually, I think. But Kevin Stenlund, 2 years, only $2 million average, so $4 million contract. I think he could have gotten more than that. He's a strong.
Wasn't he just a fourth liner?
But he is a third liner at heart. He's a fourth liner on the Florida Panthers. He's a third liner on most teams.
Okay.
And he can be a top penalty killer, maybe a second penalty killer unit. But I mean, if you watched, I don't know if you watched the Game 7, how much you did.
I watched the last like 5 minutes.
Yeah, so then you might have seen that penalty kill where Kevin Stenlund didn't have a stick and still stopped the Oilers from scoring on the power play. Insane.
Earned him $2 million.
Yeah, he should have gotten more. And if he was willing to sign, part of that is like, there's no way Zito didn't offer him that, right? I don't know.
We'll see.
And then we still haven't signed Tarasenko, Nick Cousins, Stephen Lorentz, Kyle Okposo. I think he might retire, or
He'll
get
probably retire.
or he might get a veteran minimum back in Buffalo or something. Who knows?
Surprised they didn't re-sign Stephen Lorenz. I felt like he was a solid piece.
They still might. I don't think they will, based on the signings that we did. And I'll get those real quick. They're not huge, so I can kind of just go through them. We signed Thomas Nosek, who's kind of like a fourth line center winger. AJ Greer. I did not hear of this guy before we got him, but I guess
I know he's big.
He's 6'3", I think. So
like built wise, like he's
over 200 pounds. Jesper Boquist, who's another kind of like just depth fourth liner. And then the biggest signing came today, and it's weird that this is our biggest signing, but it's Nate Schmidt.
The guy who's bought out.
Yeah. Hey, we did that with Ekman Larson, so see if this one works out. And then we signed, like I mentioned before, Chris Drieger, who's going to probably be the third string goalie.
I don't know if you know this guy, but Mackenzie Whistle.
So he signed a 2-way contract. That's why I didn't include him.
But he played like all for Chicago last year, so he's like
that's because Chicago stinks.
Chicago sucks though, so it'll probably benefit him for playing in the minors, to be honest, because he's still a little young.
He shouldn't have been in the NHL the last 2 years. It's just because Chicago's roster is that bad. And I don't mean to say that bad about Mackenzie Entwistle. I mean, he's a professional hockey player nonetheless, but I think on other rosters, he's probably top line AHL or maybe second line.
Well, you wait.
We'll see.
Him be on the first line in Florida.
He's with Barkov and Reinhardt on the first line. We'll see.
And probably the second line with Bennett.
But that's it for Florida. We can kind of go outside our favorites, just go through what we feel are some of the biggest moves that happened. We won't go through all of them, because that would take forever. We can't do them all.
Yeah, we can't go through all the signings. That would be a little silly.
So we'll start. I don't know if you wanted to talk trades first or if you don't want to do the signings.
Let's start trades because that's kind of where it started. So I think the first big trade happened before the draft. Yes, it did. So these two trades happened on the same day. So Jacob Markstrom going to New Jersey from Calgary in exchange for the big 6'6" defender, I'm pretty sure, Kevin Ball, and a first round pick in next year's draft. And then also Calgary is retaining 31.25% of Markstrom's salary.
Any chance you know how much more years he has on that deal? I don't know if you looked that up.
I think he has 2.
Okay, so
pretty sure he has 2.
Okay.
Or maybe 1. It's definitely not a lot. But New Jersey finally has like a starting goalie. They're not going to be running through their carousel of random
Akira Schmid, Mackenzie Blackwood.
Isn't he on San Jose? I couldn't even name you the New Jersey goalies last season. It was like, did they get that guy from Washington or something?
I can't remember his name either. Czechia goaltender.
He sucked.
Markstrom, original Florida Panthers draft pick.
Yep, you have to bring that up.
I saw him. This is crazy. I looked this up. I was at his first career game. First career start against the Islanders, and he won. I think it was a 3-1 game.
I think I was at that game too.
You might have been there. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But anyways, he got traded up to Vancouver, then over to Calgary, and he's been solid. Not like Vezina caliber, but inconsistent. Mm-hmm. We'll see if he can be the next Corey Schneider of New Jersey. That's kind of who I would expect them to be.
No, Martin Brodeur. They want the next Marty Brodeur.
Not going to happen. But he could definitely be the next Corey Schneider. But I think it's good for New Jersey.
It's a solid pickup, and I would have to guess that this was the guy they wanted if they're willing to trade a first round pick and a pretty like an NHL caliber defenseman in Kevin Ball.
Yeah, what do you think of the return they got for Markstrom? Do you think that's fair value for him?
That's fair value for Calgary. And Calgary, who's our goalie now? Is it Vladar?
I think that might be all
Did they
they have.
sign anyone?
Let me see how quick I can pull that up for you, real
I
quick here.
don't. Are they going in with Vladar? Because
Yeah, Vladar and Dustin Wolf. That's it.
oh yeah, Dustin Wolf. I like Dustin Wolf.
It could be Wolf's year to break out. Maybe that's what they're hoping for.
I could see that because just like a Devon Levy for
Buffalo.
Buffalo, I feel like both of those guys are like late round picks, but turned out to like be NHL caliber goalies. So
that's how we
we'll
got
see.
Sam Reinhart.
I'm rooting for Dustin Wolf. I hope he does good because I remember when I did mock drafts and stuff, I was like, "This is like one of the best goalies in the draft. Why did he go so low?"
We'll see. If you see Calgary sign a goalie, that means Wolf might be third
Is
string.
there any left?
Probably none that are like starter caliber.
Yeah, I can quickly check. You can bring up the next trade.
Which is the next trade? Because I think you have the dates on here. Is it?
I
I got it. Yeah. So this was another goalie traded, but that wasn't the biggest piece. Washington traded for Pierre-Luc Dubois, just for Darcy Kemper, and honestly, this makes LA look so dumb. They traded some of their best young talent, a couple draft picks to bring Pierre-Luc Dubois over, sign him to this massive deal, expected him to be their future number one center once Kopitar's done. He stinks all year, and again, he gets traded for just a sub-medium tier goalie. Like, and I'm surprised. This is what is surprising for Washington. LA's not retaining any salary from this deal. They're taking on the whole thing.
So this is like a pretty like LA getting out of that contract pretty much because they were like, you know what, we don't want this guy actually. They actually never mind. We're not keeping it. And they get a starting goaltender at least. So like they have their starter because Darcy Kemper lost his job to Lindgren. So
that's right. Oh my gosh, I forgot Kemper was a cup winner. I just remember that. Yeah, I'm like talking crap
Kemper
about him.
A cup of Colorado. He's actually he's like a solid starter. We'll see how he does with LA.
I take back my words.
Yeah. So now LA has their starter and they got rid of that contract. And the only thing good for Washington is if Dubois can decide if he wants to be a good player, pretty much. Because like he has the talent. He's done it before. It's just
I feel like all we do
does he want to do it?
I feel like for every team he gets traded to, it's been, will he finally live up to the potential? When he got
Winnipeg, he was good. Winnipeg, he was actually good for a while.
Yeah.
Because, like, if you go through his stats, he was actually pretty solid for Winnipeg. And also, now that I have pulled up the goalie list.
Yeah, give us that goalie list.
This is kind of sad.
Oh, no.
Because I see Carter Hart there, and he's probably
he's not going to get signed.
Gross person.
He's not.
Antti Ranta is the top one, followed by Martin Jones, then Predators backup Kevin Lankinen. I'm surprised he hasn't gotten signed. Akira Schmid, Ivan Prosvetov, Magnus Hellberg, Michael Hutchinson, and Malcolm Subban.
Malcolm Subban, so I thought he's done.
Those are all the goalies that have played a game last year that are available. So
the first couple you mentioned aren't bad. Martin Jones, not terrible. Obviously not your
Martin
main
Jones.
starter.
That was actually good for the Leafs. Kevin Lankinen was a good backup for the Predators. Like 11 wins, 6 losses, 2.82, 908. That's solid for a backup.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's actually the best one out of all these that don't include Magnus Johnson, who only played like 3 games, and most of that was coming in for relief.
Yeah, well, let's keep it up with the goalies because there was another goalie trade.
So I'll read this one. Linus Ullmark was traded to Ottawa, surprisingly. And with that, Ottawa also retains the goalie they trade back or not trade back, but the trade to Boston and Eunice Corpusalo, who I'm pretty sure Ottawa just signed him the year before. So another guy who gets a big contract and then they immediately trade him the following year.
This was an upgrade, at least, though.
This is an upgrade. I don't know about the Pierre-Luc Dubois. If you're saying like Darcy Kemper is going to be better, I don't know. But then they also get kind of prospect. He might be a bit older. Mark Kastelik.
He's not a big prospect for sure. Like
he's nothing. And then they got the 25th overall pick. I'm not sure who they drafted with it. I don't really know any of the prospects on the draft.
They got a first round pick out of it. We won't know.
They got a first round pick.
We don't know if that's going to end up being big or not.
I might open up the draft in case we have some time later in the thing to bring up the draft. But
yeah, Ottawa gets Linus Ullmark. It's not the guy. It's not the team I thought Ullmark was going to go to. But Ottawa did need a goaltender. They still have a lot of other issues, but this hopefully should solve their goaltending thing. Brady Tkachuk and Ullmark all the way.
I feel like Ottawa has been trying to find the goalie ever since Craig Anderson and has not gone well. So this is another dart in the
shot in the dark. Is that what you're saying?
Come on,
one of these is gonna work.
This one's gonna work. This one's gonna work. This one.
But that's what New Jersey's been doing too.
Do you know who? I'm pretty sure they had the Minnesota goalie, Philip Gustafson. Okay. Philip Gustafson, I think, is pretty good.
He did pretty good last year. Yes, very good. He shut out the Panthers in the very first game of the season.
But overall, I hope Ullmark can do good. I'm sure he's going to be a little upset leaving his best friend Swayman because I know those two really liked being on the same team.
Boston could not keep up having two starters.
You can't afford two goalies like that.
They kept the Alaskan native Swayman. I think that was the right call.
Oh yeah, our brother.
Yes, we didn't mention this in our background. We were both born in Alaska. Hello, Freya.
Yeah, born in Alaska.
No, can't say raised. But
definitely not raised in Alaska. You were raised at least for 5 years. I was literally pooping in diapers when I left.
Great soundbite. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. So now let's go to another LA trade. And this one I'm just bringing up. It's not that huge of a trade, but I just want to make fun of Tampa. Tampa trades Tanner Jeannot for a fourth and a second when they originally acquired Tanner Jeannot for, let's go through all the assets of Cal Foote, who turned out to be nothing, but that's okay. But here's where it all comes in. 2023 third round pick, 2023 fourth round pick, 2023 fifth round pick, 2024 second round pick, and a 2025 first round pick, a top 10 protected.
Everyone knew that trade was bad as soon as it was released, and now it's even worse.
So what I thought was crazy is like I bet they're gonna sign him to like some 8-year deal worth like $4 million or $3 million, but no. Instead, they just like everyone makes mistakes. Let's just get rid of him. And LA, I feel like paid way too much. A second and a fourth.
I don't know. They're high. They're high on the penalty killer guy because he's mainly just a physical defensive forward, isn't he?
He just fights and doesn't get points anymore. He's not that. He's fine. But I wouldn't trade a second or fourth for him. I would say I would have been more like Tampa screwed up if they just got like a third for him.
Yeah. Another
now Ottawa involved again. But yes, you go ahead.
Yeah. So another trade that kind of like, the old trade looks horrible now. Ottawa traded Jacob Chikrin, South Florida native, to the Washington Capitals, so they're making moves. But all Ottawa got back was Nick Jensen and a third-round pick when they originally acquired him for one first-round pick and two second-round picks.
Yeah, the condition was if they made the Eastern Conference Finals in 2023, it would become a first.
It would have been a first, you're right.
Yeah,
and obviously that did not happen because they missed the playoffs.
That's like an insanely possibly great trade for Washington because Chikrin and Carlson, that's a solid top two.
And their defense was surprisingly good last year. So
yeah,
and Chikrin's
I
more of
mean,
an offensive defenseman, but I mean, he's still good.
oh yeah, then maybe he won't be paired with the Carlson, but
Who knows?
But yeah, Nick Jensen's just like a solid.
He's a meh tier, like third pairing, maybe second pairing.
He's like good at what he does. He plays defense well, and a third. So I mean, Ottawa, good job. You got a decent defenseman, but
it's a downgrade from Chikrin. It's a downgrade.
Good job trading all those picks for
Nick Jensen, basically. It's
good job.
It's a
you did it.
It's a first, a second for Nick Jensen, and a third.
Yeah, it's a little silly, but I guess now we can move on to some free agents.
That's it for the trades. There were obviously more trades that happened, but those are the big ones.
A lot of them were just draft picks, and then there was like that weird New Jersey trading like their former 8th overall pick for something. I don't know
if I saw that one, but we'll move on to the signings that we do know about. Do you want to take the first one here?
I'll start it off. Let's go with Tampa. Tampa traded a 3rd round pick to acquire the rights of Jake Guentzel, and then they signed him to a $9 million 7-year deal. So $9 million is the average, and then also I believe today they extended Victor Hedman to a way better deal than I thought they would. $8 million for 4 years.
Well, a better deal for him, not for the team.
Yeah, well, I thought he was going to get like maybe $10 million. Like,
no
Victor
way.
Hedman's that good. Victor Hedman's that good.
He's like, old. He's old. So old.
But that's why I'm like shocked. Like I thought, oh man. But there's the Florida benefit. A lot of players can get cheaper deals.
Oh boy, here we go. The tax thing.
It's true. I mean, you see Reinhardt, he's only making $8 million. He could have made a lot more, but he would have had to make like $11 million in Canada in order for it to be worth it. But yeah, so I think Jake Guentzel is an
upgrade from Stamkos
because they pretty much think, okay, we got the younger version of Stamkos, except definitely not the same player.
No,
very
still really
different.
good.
Yeah, so he's good. Last year he kind of like was just like but
well, that's because Pittsburgh was
we'll see how he mixes in with the Tampa group. I wonder if him and Kucherov will be on the same line, since I'm pretty sure Kucherov did play with Stammer. I'm not sure though. Could be wrong on that. That definitely played together on the power play. But but yeah, so that's like the big. I think that was the big free agent. I'm pretty sure everyone was wondering where Jake Guentzel will go, but then Tampa just traded for his rights and said, haha, JK, he's ours.
Good for Carolina getting a 3rd round pick out of that, though. So
they at least got something. It's like how Nashville got a 3rd round pick for Jimmy Vesey.
Moving on to another team in the Atlantic, even though it makes no sense that these two teams are in the same division, but it's whatever. The Boston Bruins made a signing of a guy who I thought they should have traded for last year, but they signed him this year. Elias Lindholm, a center, something they desperately needed after the retirements of Patrice Bergeron and David Krejci. They got him for 7 years at a $7.75 million average. I don't think this contract's going to age very well, but it's a good deal for now. And they needed him, so they had to overpay because like this is something we need. We need a center, and they got him. And then I like this signing, Nikita Zadorov. He signed for 6 years, so these are some long contracts for just $5 million. I think Zadorov. I think other teams might have tried to overpay him, but they got him for that 6-year length. So Zadorov took just the $5 million. He was a great defenseman there for Vancouver. They pushed Edmonton to 7 games, and Zadorov was a huge part of that series. So Boston, I think they've done a couple good things this year to kind of trying to. They obviously went out in the first round and 2 years ago in the second round this past year. So this might be something that pushes them past that. Who knows? Your thoughts on the Boston signings?
Yeah. I don't know about Elias Lindholm.
He's going to be their number one center, though, regardless.
Yeah, but that dude kind of sucked for Vancouver.
He didn't suck. He just wasn't as good as they needed him to be.
Yeah, I mean, you look at last year, so you're basically giving $7 million for the player you hope you're getting. Mm-hmm. So for the Flames, for Vancouver, he had a total of 12 points in 26 games. During the playoffs, he did have 5 points.
Sorry, 10 points.
Or not, 10 points in 13 games. So you're obviously hoping that this is the 82-point-a-game player that you're getting. But realistically, I think the best this guy is ever going to be is a good second-line center. I think thrusting him into the first-line role is... I don't know. He's never been... I feel like that isn't his role to be the first-line center of a team. He's more like a second-line guy because, like, you had those 2 years where he got, like, a bunch of points. But usually, he's, like, in the 50-60 mark. So maybe he'll find good chemistry with Brad Marchand, I guess.
I'm surprised you said him. There's another guy on Boston who puts up a lot of points, who he's definitely going to be on the line with. David Pastrnak.
Oh, yeah, Pasta.
I think
that would probably be the guy he's paired with. So that could boost if they have good chemistry together, but that's the thing.
Yeah,
I feel like Chandler Stevenson would have been a better signing for Boston. Maybe.
Stevenson feels like a Boston player. You're definitely right about that. Lindholm's kind of more of a playmaker. Stevenson's kind of like a gritty guy. Yeah. But they went with Lindholm, so there it is. I see you mentioned this one. This one's kind of a little fun.
This one I found interesting and weird.
It's not one of the biggest ones.
And I know why they did it, though. So Columbus signed Sean Monahan to a $5.5 million average for 5 years.
5 years.
And I think the only reason they did this is because they want Gaudreau to be good again, so they signed his old Calgary teammate.
When you say that, though, I don't think they were line mates on Calgary. I don't think they were. Maybe they were.
Yeah, they were. They were.
Oh,
they were for a while. When Gaudreau was having those really good seasons, Monahan was his center.
All right. Well, maybe it'll work out.
I mean, when Lindholm was really good, I'm pretty sure that's when Monahan took a dip because of all the injuries he was dealing with.
Okay.
But when Monahan was good, like a good number one center, and then randomly had a good year this year, and that's what made Winnipeg was like, let's give a first round pick for him.
That worked out.
I don't know why I'm sitting like this. But yeah, sorry.
I don't.
But, I think.
So I
think it was like a pretty big overpayment for Sean Monahan, but I'm pretty sure they're just doing it because they're like, we got to get Gaudreau going somehow.
Yeah, for Columbus, they are a disaster, and they still are waiting to trade Patrick Laine, who requested to move. That hasn't happened yet.
We'll see if that happens. I'm not sure.
Jack Roslovic was one of their top centers. Looks like they're not going to bring him back. They're obviously going with Monahan, and
pretty sure Jack Roslovic got traded to the Rangers, though, right?
Oh, what? Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
maybe they'll bring him back.
I know this is a little off topic, but it is Columbus. They did draft a prospect that I remember liking, Caden Lidstrom. He's like the big 6'4" center.
Oh,
yeah, I do think it'll be similar to Quentin Byfield a bit.
Okay.
I feel like he'll slowly develop. You'll give him a couple of years. Columbus has had the problem of having to force their prospects in because that's all they have.
Fantilli last year.
Fantilli was a day one starter, which I'm not sure was the way. And same thing with guys like
Jack Johnson,
Kyle Johnson,
something Johnson.
They have Kent Johnson.
Ken Johnson. That's who it is.
And then they also have the other guy. Oh, Columbus is such who are these people team?
Chinikov. I like Chinikov.
Chinikov. That's One of the wing. I'm thinking of like a center though. I don't know.
The
I
animals in
can't
my
think of his
house
name.
are going insane right now.
That's good. But yeah, that's enough of Columbus. Who cares? They're gonna suck anyway.
We're moving on. Let's talk about your former favorite Predator.
Well, I guess let's talk about the former or the current Stanley Cup losers.
Oh, you want to
So
talk
the
about them all?
Predators. Oh wait, oh my god, I am blinking out. Okay. Edmonton has decided to sign Victor Arvidsson to a $4 million average 2-year deal. And I think that's really good. And they also signed Jeff Skinner, who got bought out of that terrible contract that Buffalo decided to sign after one good year. They're like, well, he's going to replicate this every single year. Let's give him $9 million for
Terrible.
8 or 7 years.
Terrible.
And Jeff Skinner, I'm pretty sure, or I know this, but I don't know if he's like the first player to do this, but he's played 1,000 games with not a single playoff appearance.
Nice.
So
that's going to change this year.
Edmonton, it's definitely going to change this year. Unless some disaster happens in Edmonton. Like Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl both get injured. But yeah, Victor Arvidsson, I think, is going to be like a perfect fit. He's super for even like like the short player he is. He's like 5'9". He plays very tough hockey. Like goes into the corners, goes into the boards, just checking people. Super good penalty killer. And when he can stay healthy, that's the problem. With Victor Arvidsson, he can't stay healthy at all. So if he can stay healthy and have like a full year playing with either McDavid or Draisaitl or even Nugent Hopkins, he'll be a really good player for them.
I think.
But yeah, he just got to stay healthy. And Jeff Skinner too. When you play him on the top line, what Buffalo was doing, they were like playing him. They weren't giving him any time. Like Jeff Skinner proves he can score and be good.
So I think you're going to see one of these guys is playing with McDavid for sure. I think they'll probably split them up. One with McDavid, one with Draisaitl. The Oilers definitely felt like that their depth scoring was the issue, and they have filled those holes for sure. I think they've done very well. They could very well pull what Florida just did, lose the Cup final, and then go back and win it. I can definitely see that happening
against Florida.
So you mentioned that. This is something I was thinking about. If Florida makes it back again, the Eastern Conference champions will have been a Florida team 6 straight years, with 3 years being Tampa and then 3 years being Florida.
That'd be ridiculous.
It'd be ridiculous.
It needs to stop. Florida needs to stop. Let's move on.
Yeah, let's talk about this giant extension in Montreal.
Ginormous extension.
I was not expecting to see this.
This was so out of nowhere.
The former number 1 overall pick, Juraj Slavkovsky from Slovakia, signed an 8-year deal with a $7.6 million AAV. This is a contract that could age extremely well or extremely poorly. It depends how he's going to develop. He started to get a more consistent role with Montreal this past year, and so
he had a breakout season.
Really did. He definitely wasn't putting up crazy numbers, but good numbers. Good numbers.
Yeah, 50 points in like 70 something games.
So like they figure it's going to keep trending up, So if it does,
it'll
this
look like
contract
people are already calling him like Nail Yakupov.
That was too early.
And I mean, come on, the guy's was he 21?
I don't think. I think he is now, but they were saying that when he was like 19.
We're already calling this kid like a buzz. Like every prospect has to be McDavid season 1. Like Jack Hughes didn't really develop that quickly.
If Jack Hughes, Jack Hughes was healthy this year, he wins the Hart. That's my hot take. If Jack Hughes was healthy all year,
I don't know about that.
He was on pace to be the NHL's leading scorer after 2 or 3 months.
I don't know about that, but who knows? That's why it's a hot take.
But anyways, Juraj, he's going to be in a Montreal jersey for a long time, which I'm not surprised by that.
Like you said, I think this could age very poorly. if he just decides, or not, he just decides, if he doesn't develop into what they think he's going to be, which is a top 6 winger. So they just got to hope this wasn't a flash in the pan, because I'm pretty sure he started off the season very slow and then picked it up towards the end. Mm-hmm. So you just got to hope that momentum keeps on carrying and isn't just this Jonathan Chichu type season.
What a reach back. What a pull
right know.
There. The Jonathan Chichu Rocket Richard year.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, he didn't do that. Maybe let's say David Booth. Is that a good reference?
I think
just solid for a little bit and then kind of regressed after that concussion.
Yeah, he was the Panthers' best scorer, took concussion, wasn't very good, traded to Vancouver for basically nothing, and then his career died.
Yeah.
But Juraj is a lot younger than David Booth at that point.
Yes. I'm sure. I hope this is a good signing. I hope he does good, because it's a cool story that first Slovakian, first overall pick. Same thing with Nico Hischier. I'm glad he's doing good.
Yeah. Him and Roman Josi, the top Swiss guys.
That's right.
Another younger one. This obviously is not a big deal, but it is a big deal in the sense that they thought this guy was going to be playing the NHL for another 3 seasons or so. Matvei Michkov, he got his contract terminated in Russia by SKA St. Petersburg. I believe that was the team he was with. Basically, SKA did not want Matvei Michkov to play. The coach didn't like him or something. And so his contract got terminated, and that means the Philadelphia Flyers were able to sign him. He signed his entry-level deal, 3 years, $950, very normal there. Probably going to get a shot on the roster. We'll see how he does in training camp, but I think he makes the roster opening day.
We'll see. I wouldn't want to rush a prospect right into it, but also I could see them, because Philadelphia is very good.
They're desperate.
You could see him. You could see him forcing in, but I feel like could be one of 2 situations. This could either be because if everyone didn't take this guy because they thought the Russian factor, he might be staying for another 3 years. So that's why he dropped all the way down to 7. He was supposed to be the number 2 pick originally.
Yep.
Right behind Bedard. Yep. But nobody took him because they were like, oh God, I don't want to wait 3 years for this kid.
Or more.
But now, also what this kind of reminds me of is, if you remember Philip Zadina.
Yeah, that's okay, yeah.
This guy was slipping in the draft, and everyone was like, oh God, this guy's going to be really good. He sucks. He's nothing special. He's a dead player. So I could see it going either way. You never know with these wingers. They're very inconsistent, but Matvei Michkov, I feel like he'll do good, but also he got drafted to Philadelphia, and Philadelphia kind of sucks. So
with them trading away Cutter Gauthier, they kind of need Michkov to step up, because now he's their big prospect.
Yeah, because that trade's going to bite them, I feel, unless Cutter Gauthier does not turn out to be anything. Which I feel like he's really good, though.
You never know. NCAA is not always the best judge of how good of a player is.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot of guys who are the top scorers for the NCAA. The Panthers have signed a couple of them recently.
Usually those late round. First round picks usually turn out semi-good.
Sure, sometimes. I'm just saying it's kind of hit or miss with
Hobie
NCAA.
Baker Award winners don't always turn out good.
Yeah, we're still waiting to see if Fantilli and then obviously Celebrini this year. So we'll see. Fantilli hasn't proved to be top, but maybe he does something with like Juraj did this past year. He just breaks out, but we'll see.
We'll see. Moving on, we got a Seattle's big center signing in Chandler Stevenson.
Huge.
This contract kind of. I don't know if you remembered this, but so they signed him to $6.25 million average for 7 years. Do you remember when Detroit signed Franz Nielsen?
Oh my gosh,
to a long-term contract? Same with like Stephen Weiss. I don't
Oh
know.
man, you brought up Weiss.
I
Oh
get
my gosh.
I get vibes of that a little bit, but I'm hoping I'm wrong because Chandler Stevenson was like really good for Vegas, but other than that, he was kind of like a eh.
You were
So I'm
just saying
wondering.
you wanted this guy to sign in Boston for this kind of deal. Now, but
I
with
just felt like
Seattle, you
he
don't.
fit. I fit Boston. I feel like he fit Boston better.
Okay.
That's my thing. And I was told. I think I was listening to something, and I was told Chandler Stephen had interest in coming to Nashville. I was like, oh god, not another one. We've made way too many big signings. But yeah, I don't think that'll happen. But it does give me vibes of Franz Nielsen, like those old Detroit
Yeah.
signings. But
Nashville, by the
we'll
way,
see how it
you
ages.
mentioned Nashville. Just real quick, I checked their cap room. They got nothing left to do anything. They're done.
They're done. I'm pretty sure they're done. They only have to sign like a couple of
The only
prospect.
person left, I looked this up for you. The only person left that was played an NHL game last year that's not signed is Juuso Parssinen. That's it.
Oh yeah,
And
that's true.
and I don't. They might just let him walk. Their
He might
roster's
go back
full.
to Finland. He might go back to Finland. Let's move on to another Toronto signing. This one I just
Oh, we
found
forgot to lump
odd
this one
because of
in
the
here.
yeah, we did forget to lump it in because it wasn't Panther related. Um, 4.5 million average, and that's good for Chris Canada. That's solid. 6 years.
6 years.
So just like Ekam Larson, they're signing these old dudes to like these giant contracts. And you hear like, oh well, they have that cup window. It's like, yeah, but what happens after that? You're
I,
just stuck with these old corpses playing defense. They're late 30s. They're not corpses, but in hockey, in sports terms, they're
but at the end of these deals,
at the end of these deals. These are not going to look pretty. They'll look even. I think they'll even look less pretty than the Nashville contracts.
potentially, yeah. I mean, the
Potentially.
Panthers. Here, thinking about, so I bring up the Panthers probably too much, but the
Well,
Panthers are still
I'm just going to
paying.
accept that during this podcast.
The Panthers are still paying Keith Yandel. Like,
Well, that's from a buyout.
no, but I'm saying that's what's going to end up happening to these guys is stuff like
Yeah. A team is still paying Shea Weber, and he's in the Hall of Fame. So,
that. Oh boy!
and then I
Last
think the
one.
last signing and the last topic of this podcast, we can't end it on a better note than this. The biggest player in free agency, Jake DeBrusk, signs a 7-year deal. Very similar, 5.5 average to another former Vancouver signing for 7 years, and Louis Eriksson, a former
Oh my
Boston
gosh!
Bruin. And that turned out
Dude,
great for them.
Louis Eriksson. You've got all the 2010s and late 2000s references.
Dude, when Louis Eriksson signed that 7-year deal, looked bad already. At least Jake DeBrusk is like solid.
And he's still in his 20s, right? He's not 30 yet.
He's not in his 30s, but I just found that funny that they signed like another Boston Bruin to a very similar contract.
Jake
for 7
DeBrusk
years.
did have a fun quote after this signing. He said he wanted to go to a place where he felt like he could actually win. That's what he said.
What?
So after he was on a team that literally broke the record for the most wins in a regular season.
Well, I think he wanted out of Boston for a while now, and he was just kind of stuck there. So now they finally became a UFA. He was like, finally, I can get
Peace out.
So he must have just not liked Boston at all.
No, Boston is
culture.
Definitely a winning organization, so that quote is wild.
That quote is pretty wild. So that's the end, I'm pretty sure, of their 3 first-round picks in a row. If you
I think you're right. Yes. I can't remember the other names, but
so Jake Zaboral, I think, was the first one.
Elite.
I don't think it's Jake though. He is Czech Republican. He had some weird name. Jakob,
maybe.
Then Jake DeBrusk, and then the worst one is Jack Shenishin.
Yikes.
I think he got traded for like another minor leaguer, and now he's like out of the NHL. So yeah, that's the end of Boston's funny 3 picks that they were trying to trade up for Noah Hannafin. that draft era. That was the Connor
Oh boy.
McDavid draft. And they could have had Matthew Barzal, Kyle Connor, and Thomas Chabot. Just to name a few names in case you were like
So
wondering who they missed
bad.
out on. I'm pretty sure they also could have drafted Matthew Barzal.
Their scouts I don't think they work for the Bruins anymore. Whoever ended up making those calls.
They got at least one NHLer out of it.
But now, like you said, now that guy is not even on the team. So
yeah, he's gone, and he never won a cup.
Lost
them,
him for nothing.
He didn't do anything. Yeah, but unless we want to bring up the draft a little bit, just like maybe the top 5 picks.
I don't have much to say about them. So unless you feel confident to talk,
I mean, the thing I knew about this draft is that there's very good defensemen available. So, and then also Ivan Demidov dropping to the 5th overall pick to Montreal.
He was ranked second originally, wasn't it?
He was ranked second, yeah. But Chicago was... I felt like Chicago knew they wanted to take that Belarus defenseman. But I don't know if you watched the draft. Did you watch the draft?
I did not. Sorry.
Okay. I don't blame you. You're fine. Anaheim with a 3rd overall pick out of nowhere.
Oh, I
took Beckett Sinetic.
Dude, that guy, I did see on Twitter. His reaction of being like, what?
Yeah,
what? So you could see him saying, what?
Yeah, he literally threw the F-bomb out there. If you saw that,
I didn't notice that, but I did know that he looked. He looked.
Yeah,
shocked.
He was shocked. He didn't even do an interview with Anaheim either, so it was just out of nowhere.
Wait, are you serious? I thought that for sure that was the thing. They must have interviewed him and really liked him.
No, that was a huge thing. When they talked to him afterward, they were just like, I didn't even have an interview with Tampa.
That's whack.
Or not Tampa, Anaheim.
I knew what you meant. But yeah, that's wacky.
That's very interesting. I really like that Utah's first ever draft pick was Jerome McGinley's son.
It was the right pick.
I think it's Tig or Ty. Tij.
It's spelled Tij. So
yeah, but I really like that pick. I'm glad he got drafted in the top 10 because a lot of people were thinking, or I guess Calgary was. A lot of people had him going to Calgary just because they're like,
because
makes sense. But I guess other than that, I guess Nashville took some Russian Igor Shurin. I'm sure he's going to be a bust. But yeah. But I think that's it for the draft. For my knowledge, I just remember there being a lot of good defensemen. So if your team drafted a defenseman, you probably got a good player.
I know Zeev Buium. I don't know if that's how you say his last name. It's a hard one. He went all the way down, I think 11th. He went to Minnesota, and he was originally ranked top 5. He played with, I think, I want to get this right. I think he played with Denver, who won the national championship this past year. So against Celebrini and in Boston University. So
I know the huge thing because I was listening to the draft and them talking about them since I didn't know like anything. They were saying like his huge weakness is defense as a defenseman.
He can just be the next Brett Conley. So Brett Conley was a defender before he was drafted, but then was a forward his whole NHL career.
Exactly, but I feel like he's definitely going to be a defenseman. Like he'll be that offensive defenseman.
He'll be the next Kalen Addison for Minnesota.
Oh, jeez,
he's currently a UFA
for first round pick. That's bad. But yeah, if your team drafted a defenseman like Sam Dickinson to San Jose, I think that was a really good pickup. I'm pretty sure New Jersey took the giant defenseman. Yeah, Anton Silyayev.
That just sounds like a big man.
They after trading Kevin Ball, their big defenseman, they get another one.
We need one.
Need one giant dude to play defense. But yeah, I think we're pretty much good here for our first episode of Puck Bros.
First ever episode of Puck Bros. We haven't decided on a schedule yet for when we'll be recording videos, but we'll try to get them out as often as we can. But for that's it for us. Remember, wherever you're watching or listening to this, we are on Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're on Spotify, we're on Apple Podcasts. Follow us where you can. We'll try to get all the latest news out to you. And for now, till next time.
Till next time.